Hello, I'm Chris Ashmore and welcome to Master Your Market. One of the best ways to get your name out there in the market is also free. You don't have to pay anything. All it costs is your time and some preparation. And that is public relations. Being able to put yourself, your name, your face, your voice out there onto a TV show or a radio show or a newspaper or magazine publication. It can't be about you though. You've really got to understand who the audience is and what that TV show or that publication, what they really want. To explain the intricacies of PR, today I'm joined by Candice Gersun. She's the director and the co-founder of Reconnect PR. And we discuss how PR fits in with an overall marketing strategy. Of course, we discuss how to get yourself on TV and radio, and also how podcasts are also now within the realm of PR. I hope you enjoy this chat. Well, Candice, firstly, welcome and thanks for joining me on this podcast. Can I ask perhaps to start with a bit about you? How did you get into the PR game?
Hi, Chris. Thanks so much for having me. So I actually studied an honours degree in business administration in South Africa, and I did not have any idea what I was going to do in terms of career. I started in marketing and I worked as a marketing coordinator in a video games company, and that set the stage for my PR career because my boss came to me when I was about 21 and said that he needs someone to start the PR department. I'd learned a little bit in my degree about PR but had no clue. And so I was literally thrown in the deep end, started the department, had to take press trips overseas to all the studios, like the film studios and the video game studios in LA and Europe. So I learned basically on the job, taught myself, and I realized it was my passion. It was the biggest gift that he gave me, and I absolutely love PR. So a bit of an unconventional start, but it was definitely meant to be.
Well, it's a great start, and having the passion for whatever you do is probably the biggest motivator and indicator of how well you're going to be. I reckon. That's what I tell my daughter anyway. For those, probably we've all heard of the word the term PR, yeah. But what is it exactly? I mean, it's more than just sending press releases, I guess.
Yes, that's correct. So I think a lot of people don't actually know. They've heard PR as a buzzword. So PR is the way that a business or a person, if you're building your own profile, communicates with both internal and external stakeholders. So internally in your company, that would be your team or anyone internally that you're dealing with. The way that you communicate, that represents your overall image. So that still falls under PR, like it's called internal communication. And then externally, your customers, the media, suppliers, partners, stakeholders, shareholders, investors, those are all people that you should be monitoring the way that you communicate and the way that you portray your image with these specific people. So that encompasses public relations.
I had never thought about it in terms of internal communications or internal relations, I suppose. But for these are for like bigger organisations, multinationals, these kind of bigger companies. Would that be fair?
Yes. So I have consulted and worked in corporate before, and it's very important that they look at both their internal communication strategy and external communication strategy. In saying that though, even for very small businesses, even if you have one staff member, two staff members, or 10, as you're growing, it's really important to still make sure that your culture and your image internally is still really good. So it doesn't matter on the size of the business.
Yep. Well, if I can indulge in going down this little rabbit hole, because I hadn't thought about it before, yeah. How does someone, a boss of a big company or whatever, how do you help them relate internally to their people?
So it's really important to build relationships. PR is all about relationship building with all of those internal and external stakeholders. So build relationships with your staff. Otherwise, have your management in bigger companies, build relationships with the staff. It all comes down to HR, to events, to culture. So your HR team for bigger companies and even medium-sized companies is really important. And then the actual communication. So internal newsletters, events that are put on, listening is so important, like some kind of suggestion or recommendations, listening to your team, listening to their their complaints. That's all important to build staff morale and to keep the culture happy. And that comes down to image and PR.
Internal podcasts would help,
Yeah,
I
that's a great
suppose.
idea too.
Now, when it comes to marketing, and let's sort of move away from the internal but the external, and you're wanting to market yourself outside of the organisation to potential clients and customers, how does PR fit in with the broader marketing mix?
Yep, so I'm going to explain the product marketing mix now. There is a service one. So if you have a service-based business and you're listening, I suggest Googling that because it's 7 Ps and it's slightly different. But the P that I'm going to be discussing is going to be the same. So the marketing mix has 4 Ps. So it's your target market plus product, price, place, promotion. As I said, the service one's a little bit different. So just have a Google of that. So in the 4th P, the promotion P, this is where your PR fits in. It's also where your social media, your digital marketing, your traditional advertising, all your other avenues of marketing fit in the 4th P, which is promotion. So PR needs to, as I say, hold hands with all of the other elements of your marketing strategy so that everything works seamlessly and you can get the best return on investment.
Right. Well, let's sort of dive deeper into the PR side of things, and I assume the strategies that are involved. Can you sort of walk us through what some of the strategies are that you would recommend to make the most out of PR?
Yes, sure. So when we initially meet with a client, we have something called like a discovery call, which is when we really see if the client has something newsworthy to share, has the right content that the media will pick up. It's worth to note that sometimes businesses aren't ready. Like if a business is very early stage and they don't even have a website, they don't have content, like they're just not ready. It doesn't mean that they're never going to do PR. It just means that they need to come back to it at a later stage. So it's very important that the PR agency or the publicist that you've engaged is honest with the client and will say if you're ready or not for PR. Let's say the business is ready. The next step is to find out, do you have newsworthy content to share with the media? Because there's no point in a PR person taking on a client if there's nothing to share, because all that's going to happen is the PR industry gets a bad name. And I've seen this often, unfortunately, with PR agencies, as they often in it for retainers, and it's a numbers game, and they want to get as many clients on as possible, and they don't deliver the results because there's no newsworthy content. So the first most important thing for any business is the business needs to have newsworthy content. So whether that's a spokesperson creating thought leadership pieces or op-eds, whether that's a new product launch or a new service offering, or whether it's a story that hasn't been told before, or an event or an awareness day that you're going to tap into, it's really dependent on the business. So that's the first thing that the PR person needs to do, is do an analysis on the business or on the person who they are going to be doing PR for, and decide if there is a newsworthy story to be told or ongoing stories to be told. And this is also where you will work out the duration of the campaign. Sometimes I would recommend to a client, you literally just need to send out one press release. There's not enough information here for me to lock you into a 3-month or a 6-month or a 12-month campaign. And that's also where I think in Australia I've seen PR agencies go wrong, and I'm an advocate for speaking out against that, is not every client needs to be locked into a 12-month retainer. So I just want to make that heard as well. So it really depends on your content and your spokespeople and the size of your business, as well as other factors which determine the length of the PR strategy.
Right. Would your clients obviously come to you, and they're probably not cognizant of what a PR strategy is, and is that something that you've got to teach them as you go along?
Yes, definitely. So some ideas, I'm just going to explain what a PR strategy encompasses. So it's coming up with those angles or hooks, making sure that they're newsworthy, looking if there's anything topical in the media. There's 2 types of PR. There's proactive PR, and that is when you're looking for hooks and angles and newsworthy content that you can seed to the media strategically. So you put it out to traditional media, which is TV, radio, print, online, and podcasts. And then there's reactive PR. And reactive PR is when you newsjack or you jump on a hot topic and you get media for your client based on that. And people can do that for themselves as well. So that is when you give an expert comment or you put a thought leadership piece out on something that's topical in the media at the moment. So for example, if there's a bushfire and your business has something to do with bushfires, you can put out a content around that. If it's end of financial year time, tax time, and it's relevant to your business space, you can put out some content around that. If it's a seasonal business, summer or winter, again, you can put out content out for that. And also look at community awareness days. So for example, if there's a specific week or health week or a day that's relevant to your business, you would newsjack that and put out content on that specific day or a couple of days before. Also, pitching to the media is something that we do, building relationships with the media, building relationships with our clients and spokespeople. As I said, it's all about building relationships. And then once we send out those pitches and press releases and secure those all-important interviews, it's managing the interviews, fact-checking that there's no mistakes, because with journalism, if there is a mistake, it's really important that the PR person picks that up and lets the journalist know to correct it. Whilst we can't control the actual article, we can, if the person's name's spelt wrong or if there's a statistic that's incorrect, it's important that the PR person corrects that and gets the journalist to correct that. And then also then reporting and collating that media coverage and sending it to the client. So those are some top line things that are included in a PR strategy or campaign.
Right. Well, that's a lot to think about.
It is a lot.
I suppose the holy grail for any one of your clients or anyone in business is to get themselves on TV or radio or in a mass publicated newspaper.
Correct.
Would that be fair to say?
That's fair to say, because what the clients get then is they're getting that brand awareness. They're getting the SEO if it's online, which some of those backlinks you can't even buy when you're getting those mainstream, we call it PR gold publications. So they're getting those, it's increasing their SEO, it's organically increasing their social media following, it's boosting their credibility as an expert themselves and for their business. So, and also increasing traffic to their website, so leads and sales.
And I suppose if they get on TV once or radio, there's that they've established themselves in a way that if they're good enough, the producer of that program or that TV show will likely invite them on again if they've been engaging enough.
Yes, that definitely does happen. And we often say to our clients, we know we've done our job when you don't need us anymore. So if a client works with us for 6 months or 12 months, we've built their name so much in the media go to them. They don't need to come through us anymore because all the producers have their details. It's easy to get hold of them and they know who they are. So that's when we know we've done a great job, when the media goes directly to the expert or to the client.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to TV, then what are they looking for? Let's say it's Sunrise or the Today Show or something like that.
So it really depends on the story and on the segment. So there's different people and different producers working on different segments. So if it's an entertainment producer, they're looking for fresh and innovative segments on entertainment. I'm going to give an example. One of our clients has a daddy-daughter dance every year, and we get TV pickup with all the entertainment producers every year for that because it's cute, it's different, and they absolutely love it. Then there's the food producers. So if we've got a client who is a chef or baking or has a cookbook, we would pitch to the food segments. And again, they're looking for different recipes, different faces, different ideas. So it really depends. And if it's a feel-good story or more of a serious story that we need to tell. And there's different producers to pitch to for each of those different topics.
I know myself as the producer of Business Essentials Daily, which is Australia's, I suppose, number one daily business podcast aimed at small business owners, small to medium size, that, I work closely with PR like you. Yeah. And thank you very much for reaching out to me with particular topics. And I know there are good PR people like yourself who understand the market of Business Essentials and who we're targeting. And it's about providing, you've just spoken about this, but just to reiterate, it's about providing what we're looking for, and not so much what we're looking for, but what our audience is interested in, and that's practical business advice and information and inspiration. There's some PR where they send potential interviewees, and it's a blatant advertorial.
Yeah.
It's talking about them and what they've done and what awards they've had, and there's a disconnect, I think. I suppose some PR do fall into that trap, but not just PR, other business people who want to get onto our program, business coaches, and they've got to not talk about themselves. They've got to understand what it is that they can offer, practical advice or inspiration or whatever, to the audience. Your thoughts?
So I love that you've brought this up. It's a very important topic, Chris. And what PR is earned media. You're earning it for your expertise, for adding value, for giving educational tips, and you're getting earned media. It's not paid media. And I do know some PR agencies or marketing agencies are blending the two. They are separate. They are not the same. I don't know your business with your podcast, if you do have advertising or if you do have a sales side, but it's very distinguished. Like the advertising team, I have nothing to do with the advertising team at any of the big publications or TV or radio. So PR is earned media. There's a place for advertising and there's a place for that paid activity, but it's not PR and it's not earned media. And PR people should know better than that.
Exactly, because, I mean, you have your sponsors, you have your advertisers. We have it with Business Essentials. We have a sponsor. And anything that's content that has a whiff of an advertorial about it, it's just a turn-off for listeners. And us,
So it turns me off as well because it gives the PR industry a bad name, and it's important to call it out. So for any publicists on the call, just focus on earned media. That's what we have to do. That's our job.
Absolutely. For people listening to this and, maybe you're convinced to engage in PR activities, can they go it alone, or is it, I suppose it's best to have a PR expert to help them along?
So it completely depends on the stage that they're at in their business, their budget, and whether they want to have it go first. So it is definitely possible, and I've seen lots of people who do a great job on their own. You need to have time, you need to have patience, you need to have a thick skin. There are so many rejections. And also you need to work on honing your pitch. You need to make sure it's short, sweet, newsworthy, educational, not salesy or advertorial at all. But there is definitely a way. PR is not rocket science. Yes, there's skills and lessons you learn along the way. And after 20 years, I've had a lot of experience with that. But yeah, people can definitely do it alone. As you're growing and you don't have the resources to do it, it's best to outsource to the experts.
We've spoken a lot about traditional media, TV, radio, newspapers, magazines, perhaps. What about new media? Like podcasts?
So we include podcasts actually in traditional media. They're really important. They're growing. It's important for people to use the platform that podcasts offer. It's as important as radio. So we include in our traditional media offering. So we only do PR, as I said, and we focus on TV, print, which is newspapers and magazines, online, which is so important. Digital PR is growing because of the importance of SEO and Google's changes. It's important to have those earned media backlinks, and then coming to radio and podcasts, they're as important as each other.
Mm-hmm. Other than podcasts, what other online media would there be?
So social media, all the different, so if you think of the mainstream media outlets and the TV outlets, they all put the coverage, or often they put the coverage online. So even YouTube, they're starting to put everything on YouTube. There's TikTok, there's across social media. So you're kind of getting bonus coverage. So you're on TV, then they're putting it on their website, then they're putting it on social media. So you're actually getting more bang for your buck than you were years ago before social media was around.
What are your thoughts about, I don't know if you have any thoughts or deal with them, but what about influencers? Is that part of the mix?
Yeah, so we do sometimes deal with influencers. I have mixed thoughts about them. Years ago, it was different where we would just offer a contra swap for a service or a product. So they'd come in, for example, and have a skin treatment, or they'd attend an event and then write about it. Now it's a little bit different. It's falling more into that paid media category rather than earned media. So it really depends on the client and what they're looking for. But I do find that influence is really falling more into the overall marketing strategy and not really PR. And you do still find some that are happy to swap, but it's rare now.
Right. Wow. Well, we've spoken about a lot with PR. I've learnt a lot actually about it. Anything that we haven't perhaps covered that you might want to talk about or is important?
Yeah, so crisis PR is important. We didn't discuss
Yep.
that. So it's a form of reactive PR, but with social media and with people happy to write whatever they want online, it's more important than ever to make sure that you're monitoring your socials and also what's going on in the media, and that you do have a strategy in place should something go wrong. Sometimes it's best to ignore and keep quiet. Other times it's best to issue a statement or a press release. So if you do have a crisis, it's best to get a professional involved rather than do that yourself. And then the other thing I also wanted to say is, how do you actually maximize your PR coverage? So you've been featured on TV or in an amazing online publication. So I just wanted to give the audience some advice on how they maximize their coverage. So you can put it in your newsletter, your internal and your external newsletter if you have two different ones for your staff, and then externally put as seen in or on your website. And put it on your social media as content. A lot of clients use it as advertising. So instead of putting a traditional advert, they will actually put the content, which is a third party effectively endorsing you. So it will look like a big media outlet or TV station is endorsing you, and that works really well for them in terms of advertising. So it's really important to repurpose the coverage and to maximize it once you've got it using those other avenues of marketing.
Right. Can I indulge in one last question?
Wow.
Book launches. So a lot of business coaches and thought leaders are,
Yeah.
writing books. Is there any particular PR specific to launching a book?
Yeah. So it depends on the topic of the book. We also need to look at the credibility of the author. So we'd look at the author's bio and also what areas they're an expert in before pitching them to media. Then we'd also look at the topic of the book. There's extracts you can offer to media outlets, especially in the online and print space. They still love writing book extracts, still the traditional ways of putting pictures and press releases out and trying to get them those spots. We've had authors go on TV, radio interviews. It's newsworthy content. And the important thing is, when you've released the book, jump on the PR around the launch, just before or after, because otherwise it's going to be old. Like anything in PR, it needs to be fresh and newsworthy.
Fantastic. Wow, Candice, thank you so much for all of this. I could probably talk to you all day about PR. You're a wealth of information.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and hope to speak to you soon.
Thanks so much, Chris, for having me. Thank you.